Hello, my love. Welcome to another episode of Blisstopia podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Castellani, and we're going to be talking about purpose today, how it started and how it's going, how my life started, my professional life started, and how it's going now that I'm fully aligned with my purpose, with my own business, impacting thousands of lives. And I cannot wait to share all of this with you. When I decided to record this episode, I started to think about this phrase that I really love from Confucius that says, "We have two lives, and the second begins when we realize we only have one." So let that sink in. We have two lives, and the second begins when we realize we only have one. So today I want to talk about these two lives because I literally feel like I've had two lives because it's been two different journeys, two different characters. I'm a whole new person in this second life in which I am right now. So I want to share these two lives, this first life, how it started, and then how it's going. So let's start by the very beginning. When I was 18, so when I was finishing high school, I wanted to choose between studying business and psychology. I think I wanted to study business because I had always seen on the TV and the media all of these, meetings, executive meetings, and I was really excited with the idea of teamwork and the idea of motivation and cooperation and how you could have an impact on other people within a team. And it just seemed very fun, to be honest, from the images that I had from TV and movies. And then I was also interested in psychology because I have always been reading about the human mind and emotions and self-development. And I've always loved these things. I've read so many self-help books in my teenage years, and I've always been obsessed with psychology and the human mind and self-development. So for me, this world has always been so intriguing and so complex. So I was torn between these two. I was torn between business and psychology. And at that time, I was 18. So I had a very, I would say, small consciousness. I had a me consciousness, meaning that the only thing that I cared back then was myself. So when I had to decide what I would study, what I would pursue in my life, I thought, what is going to be better for me? What is more fun for me? What do I want to learn? How will I make more money? So it's all very selfish, to be honest, and very focused on myself. But at the same time, I don't really, blame myself for that because I was 18. I didn't know any better. I was so young, so immature. And my consciousness was very small, very small. It was just myself, me, myself, and I. That was the only thing that I cared. So, with that consciousness, I thought, literally, this is what I thought. I don't want to be on a couch listening to people's problems every day of my life. Like that does not sound fun. For an 18-year-old teenager, that did not sound fun. And on the other hand, I imagined, going into meetings, wearing these like executive clothes and convincing people, kind of selling them or pitching them ideas. And that seemed a lot more fun. So I chose to study business and I did everything by the book. So I went to the best business school in Argentina, my home country, for my bachelor's program. So I studied business administration for my bachelor's. Then I went to the top 3 business school in France. That's where I did my master's. And in that master's, I decided to start directing my career towards marketing. So within business, I decided to go more towards marketing because marketing was the bit of business that had the most psychology and the most art, which I also love, and the most creativity. So that was the way that I found to still be in contact with psychology, still be in contact with art and other things that I loved, but through business. So I took all of the consumer marketing, psychology of the consumer, all the branding courses, all of the things that were really, really soft and would allow me to be as much as possible in contact with psychology, with art, with creativity. So I finished my studies in top business schools, and then I did a marketing career by the book. So when you want to do a career in marketing, you usually start as an assistant brand manager, then you become a brand manager, then you become a senior brand manager, then you become a marketing manager, and then you become a marketing director. And I did everything by the book. I worked in big corporations like Unilever, Bacardi, Marie Brizard, Stoli Group, different big corporations, always except for Unilever, which is a fast consumer group, fast moving consumer group. All of the others were in the wines and spirits business. And I was actually pretty good at it. Pretty good at it. I was pretty good at navigating the politics within corporations. So I would understand very easily because I didn't know back then, but I was very intuitive. So I would like pick up on things very quickly, who had power, who was moving the needle, who was making decisions, how to move things around, how to get what I wanted, how to get promotions, how to get information, etc. So I think quite intuitively, I was very good with the corporate politics. I was very good at motivating people who were in my teams. I was very good at, shining and letting the hierarchy see me and then put me in certain positions. I was very good at making friends. And I really enjoyed many of those years. But there was always this sense of stress. And now, as I think about it, it comes back to my body, and I'm like, oh God. There was always this sense of stress because you're always trying to please someone else. I was trying to please my boss or bosses if I had many. I was trying to please my colleagues. I was trying to please people from other teams. And it was just so exhausting, trying to please all of these different people. And because you need to please them. To get what you want, you need to be pleasing people. That's how it works. It was exhausting having to please all of those people. It was exhausting having to meet deadlines that made no sense. Why do we need this thing done in 2 days? We can do it in 5. We can breathe. We can work normal hours. And it's the exact same thing. Why do we need to do it in 2 days? I think the corporate world just sets these crazy deadlines that will suck the life out of you. And then you're there trying to prove yourself that you are good enough, that you can do it, that you have it under control, trying to show other people that you have things under control. And it was just exhausting. So I was in love with the brands that I was developing, especially, for example, when I was working for Grey Goose in France, Grey Goose Vodka or Bombay Sapphire Gin. I was in love with these brands and I really wanted to see them all over the place. And we did such cool events and we had great budgets. And it was really fun, to be honest. So sometimes the fun bit would be stronger than the stressful bit, but sometimes the stressful bit was stronger than the fun bits, and you would just have to shut up and continue. But the truth is that I am a very good marketeer. I just pick things up. I have a very good eye for beauty. That's my Libra part. And I was just very good at politics, to be honest. And I managed to get the marketing director role when I turned 32 years old, which is crazy because normally in a global corporation, you get a marketing director role in your late 30s, normally in your 40s. Some people get it on their late 30s, and some people even get it in their early 50s. So I got it in my early 30s when people are getting these between their 38 to 52, 53 years old. So I did a really fast track into what I wanted, because when you're in the marketing world, the holy grail is to become a marketing director. So I was like, okay, what do I need to do? Top business schools, done, with top grades, as you can imagine. And then, okay, what do I need to do now? Which are the steps? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, marketing director. I had an amazing salary, a 6-figure salary, living in Spain. So my life was so comfortable, very, very abundant. But I think deep down, I just always had an issue with marketing. I had a moral conflict with marketing, because marketing is based on the premise that you need to understand the consumer's needs in order to sell stuff to them. So I had issues with that, because some of the products that we were selling were not nice, good products. First of all, it was a lot of alcohol. So I'm a wine lover, but alcohol is poison. So literally, we were selling poison to people, which is horrible. Of course, if you think of wine, it's a cultural product, and then there's a lot of art around mixology and cocktails and all of that. But deep down, it's just poison. And no one that wants to take care of their health should be drinking poison. We've made it cool. We've made it, like this cool thing that we do with friends and stuff. But deep down, we all know it's not good for our bodies. Sometimes it was like, very fine wines and very fine vodka or fine gin. Sometimes during some periods of my career, I was selling supermarket wine. And I was like, wow, this is just not working. We are trying to get to know people at the deepest level in order to sell things to them that they don't really need. So I want to understand people in order to sell shit to them. I was really conflicted, because to me this sounds like manipulation. You're trying to understand someone to get a benefit from that, and that's not nice. That's not what a nice person would do. So then the way you communicate is you're trying to make people unhappier to then sell something that won't make them happy either. So you're creating this idea of what is going to make them happy, but then you're not actually giving them the thing that is going to make them happier. So I was like, this is just perverse. This is just horrible. So I always had this issue with marketing when it is applied to products that are not good for people. If you think about, I don't know, some organic juice that it's actually super good for your health, amazing. Then we want to understand consumers' needs and then provide this nice little healthy juice. But this was not the case. This was alcohol. So I was very conflicted. And then the question that started coming up in my heart and in my mind was, what for? Why am I doing all of this? What's the end goal with all of this? Besides making the shareholder or the shareholders wealthier, what's the actual goal? What am I actually achieving by creating this new wine, this new label, these new spirits that is coming up into the market? What's the real impact of all of this? And that's when I started tripping, because I realized there was no actual impact. I realized it was all a waste of time. So I was pouring so much energy and so much emotion and so much in mind. I was pouring my heart, my soul, my mind into something that was not worth pursuing. And I realized I had bought all of these ideas from the media. in my teenage years. I wanted to become the corporate woman who would be, directing meetings with teams and stuff. And then when I got there, I was like, what? Okay, I'm in a leadership position now, but where am I actually leading these people? What am I actually doing for the world? And I couldn't find an answer. I couldn't find a proper answer that would be as deep as my questions were. So what happened was that I started growing spiritually. I had developed many, many hobbies like meditation, yoga, static dance. I went on many retreats in Thailand, in Bali, in India, in Spain. And my life was quite divided. I had on one side my professional life, and then on the other side, I had my hobbies. And these hobbies started asking questions, and these hobbies started to develop my soul, my intuition. And then I started asking these deep questions. What am I doing with my life? Why am I doing all of this? What's the purpose? What's the impact of all of this? And again, I couldn't give a proper answer with my job as a marketing director in the wine industry. So I think around 2020, I reached a point in my spiritual growth in which I reached spiritual awakening. And I wouldn't want to say that it was because of COVID, but I did spend COVID on my own in an apartment in Madrid. And to me, it was like a long 3-month retreat, basically. I was meditating every day. I was doing yoga. I was doing journaling. I spent a lot of time on my own because we had a lot of time back then. And I think something clicked during that period. And I was able to feel in my bones, to feel in my body this connection with everything. And I was able to switch from a me consciousness to a we consciousness. And I realized I got bored of caring just about me. It's so small. The me is so small. And I started thinking about we. I started thinking about the planet, the whole planet, not even a country, because a country is still very small, but about the whole planet, about us humans as a race and where we're going and the things that we need to change if we want to survive. And I went into really deep subjects that were quite foreign for me, to be honest, before, because I was so focused on me, that I had no time for all of that. I had no time for something bigger than myself. And then I think during COVID, with this experience of, this 3-month retreat that I had on my own, I gained this we consciousness and I started thinking, what's my role in all of this? And I started thinking, instead of thinking, what can I get from this? I started thinking, how can I serve others? What can I give? How can I be of service to other people? How can I be of service to the planet? How can I contribute to a better world? There's this big, planet with billions and billions of people. And I'm here, one of them. What's my role in all of this? After that, it was not in 2020, but a couple of years after that, things started to click. I had an idea of calling my business Blisstopia. I had the idea of Blisstopia, which is, as you know, this vision for the world in which every human being is happy, aligned with their purpose, abundant, vibrating at a super high frequency. I decided, you know what? My contribution is to create Blisstopia. My contribution is to have more people who are happier, more people who are abundant, more people who are aligned with their purpose, more people who can express their creativity and create a better world. Maybe this is the Libra in me. But I do see that vision. It's in my heart, it's in my mind, and I do believe that it is possible. And I do believe that it's not this crazy thing that it's out there. It's just so simple. It's just so simple to get there. And first you feel Blisstopia, inside of you, and you feel happy, you are aligned, you feel abundant. But then when you, for example, if you can feel Blisstopia inside of your heart, you can feel happy, abundant, creative, aligned with your purpose, laughing, vibrating at a high frequency. Of course, you're going to have an impact on your friends, on your partner if you have one, on your family, on your colleagues, on your team. So if you switch, for example, then you are changing everyone around you. And if I can have 1,000 women who can, feel all of this, who can feel this level of happiness and fulfillment and peace and joy and abundance and all these amazing feelings, if 1,000 women can feel this, what's the ripple effect of those 1,000 women and the people that they are having an impact on? So that's why I decided to create my own business, to become the founder of Blisstopia, to become a life purpose coach, to help other women find their purpose as well and manifest their dream lives. It has been a huge change, and this second life, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's an adventure. My salary, it's much higher than before. So for all of you who are thinking, I think I need to choose between having a high salary and doing something that I don't like, or having less of a salary and doing something that I love, I'm here to tell you, you can have both, and you should seek having both. That's the only way it's going to work. So it is possible to have both. It is possible to love what you're doing, to be looking forward for Mondays, to love Mondays, because that's when you can finally do what you want to do again, and you can have an amazing income. That's the point. That's the whole point. And then on top of that, there's an emotional salary that I didn't have before, which is that I'm free. I'm free to manage my agenda in whichever way I want. I'm free to work from wherever I want. And for me, that is so, so, so important. And the emotional salary of making my clients happy. Nothing on earth that makes me happier than when I see my clients at the end of a session, when things have just clicked. Something clicked. They're not the same person. They're free. They know they can do whatever they want to do now. And I can just see it in their eyes. And that feeling of seeing a woman light up, that feeling is the best feeling on earth. And that's my emotional salary. So I get very nice income and the emotional salary of being free and making other people happy. Now, I don't want to say that this second life, it's all roses and it's all perfect. When you have your own business, it is necessarily like a whole journey. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, I miss my stable job. I think it's even in those days when it's hard, I am way happier than I was before. The only thing that I miss from the previous life is the stability. It's not thinking about whether, you have a job the next month, whether your salary is going to arrive or not. It's like it's there and it feels very stable. It feels like you're walking on ground. And when you have your own business, it feels more like sailing. So you're on water, it's moving, it's fluid. Sometimes it's smooth sailing. Sometimes it's a bit stormy. In any case, I would definitely choose this again. If you would give me the choice, I would choose this again. If I had the opportunity to go back in time and decide, do I want to be in the corporate world or do I want to create my own business? I would create my business before, actually. I would quit that same day, knowing what I know now, knowing how it's possible to live in a peaceful state with a regulated nervous system, calm when things are not always urgent and crazy and you need to be running the whole time, when you can explore your creativity fully because no one can tell you to change things except if you ask your community what they think and then you take their feedback. No one is asking you, you need to do this, you need to change that. And if I had the choice to go back in time and choose again, whether I stay in the corporate world or I launch my own business, I would quit that same day and launch my own business again. I would choose this life again for sure, because I'm much happier and I'm much more aligned with who I am. I'm using all of my talents every day to make other people happy. I'm trying to understand people to then create programs that will actually make them happier, not to sell things that don't make them happy. I can actually use the things that I know, marketing, business, sales, branding. I can use these things for good. I can use these things to have one more woman smiling, and I'm going to cry. I can use these things for good. And I think that makes so much sense for me. And that's what I didn't have before in the corporate world. I think I've always wanted to help and I've always wanted to make other people happier. But I didn't find the space in the corporate world to have that level of impact because no one really cares, let's be honest. People are there to get a salary, to get a bonus. And even when they talk about sustainability and all of that, I would take things with a pinch of salt. They're talking about sustainability because it's on trend now, but it's not because they're fully committed to the vision of creating a better world. And I want to spend my days actually creating a better world, actually making people happier. And that's what I have now. That's what I have now, making people happy every day, multiple times a day with each session. And that's my greatest joy. That's my greatest joy. Having found what I actually wanted to do after being lost for many years, after thinking for many years, and finally finding that thing that clicked, that made sense. And last week I was thinking, finally my life makes sense. Finally my life makes sense to me. It's like a force that is just pushing you in a certain direction, and it makes sense. And sometimes this is going to sound quite special, but hang in there. Sometimes in the world of spirituality, for example, I heard that, if someone becomes a priest or if they become whatever, a nun or whatever, they call this usually a calling. I'm not religious, as you know, I'm very spiritual, but I'm not religious. But I think the word is quite accurate. I think the word is accurate. I wasn't called by God, but it does feel like a calling. It does feel like something is calling you. Like the universe wants you to go in a certain direction. And it just makes sense. Your whole body wants to go in that direction. And you go. And you go, and it's amazing. And that's the beauty of it. So those were my two lives. That was my previous life as a marketing director, out of alignment with my own essence. A lot of prestige, amazing salary, stability, being part of the system. And then my second life as a founder, a CEO, a life purpose coach, being free, deciding where I work from, when I work, making other women happy, creating something amazing, fully aligned with my purpose, fully aligned with my soul, happy, truly, truly, truly happy, and creating a better world every day. As soon as I wake up, I'm creating a better world and looking forward for Mondays, looking forward for holidays to be over so that I can work again, because it doesn't feel like work. It feels like creating, and it feels like creating magic every day of your life. So if you are ready to go from, your current life to your next life, if you're ready to find your purpose, if you want to get to know yourself at the deepest level, and then from that place, dream and decide what you could do, how you can contribute to a better world. What's your role in all of this? How can you use your talents and strengths to be fully aligned with your purpose and to create a beautiful impact on the world? I would love to work with you. I would love to support you during 4 months in getting to know yourself at the deepest level. I would love to be, with you for 4 months and support you in this journey of self-awareness and also dreaming so big, creating a new vision for your life, and then making that vision come true. So I do have a program which is called Path to Purpose, and I have been able to condensate what I now know about finding your purpose into a program that will actually allow you to find your purpose in 4 months. You can do this on your own, definitely, but it's going to take you maybe 2-3 years. You're going to be lost for 2 or 3 years. You're going to try a bunch of things. Some of them are pointless. Some of them will move the needle. But knowing what I know now and having helped many, many women go through the same process, I have refined a process that allows you to find your purpose in 4 months. So the first month we dive. So it's the month of gaining solid self-awareness. You will be able to articulate your identity, your values, your strengths, the areas to improve, the priorities in your life, and you will most definitely fall in love with yourself. The second month is the month in which we dream. So this is the moment to dream big, to cast an amazing vision for your life. And it doesn't need to be realistic, because realistic, the word realistic is full of limiting beliefs. What we believe is possible and what we don't believe is possible. So we don't need to be realistic just yet. You can let yourself go. You can fully dream. Even the craziest, most scary creative ideas that you might have, you will be able to explore several ideas if you have several ideas. Some people have many, some people have one, some people have two. If you have many, you will be able to explore all of your ideas and then actually decide what you want in life. What is it that you're going after? What's your end goal? What's the end vision in all of this? On the month 3 that I call design, you're going to design a life that feels amazing. So if you have many ideas, you're going to choose one and then actually start designing what that looks like. Where would you live? Would you work for someone else or create your own company? What kind of team? What kind of financial structure? What does this actually mean? What would it actually mean to choose this and implement this in my life? How would this actually look in real life? So we start getting more realistic in month number 3. And then in month number 4, which we call do, once you have this idea, you will go all in this idea and actually make it happen. So we are going to create together a roadmap to take you from the place where you are today, doing what you're doing right now, to the place where you want to be. And you will end up these 4 months with 1, a clear idea on who you are, 2, a clear idea on what you want to do next, and 3, a clear idea on the steps that you need to take to get to that place. So we go from the world of dreams and having many ideas and being lost and not knowing what you want into actually knowing what you want and getting there. So in 4 months, you will end up with a roadmap to get to that place, to make that idea your reality. So the program is called Path to Purpose, you will find the link in the show notes with all of the information in my new beautiful website that I'm so excited to share with you. So go check out the website, go check out all of the information on the Path to Purpose program. If you're ready to jump, see you inside. Let's do this. And if you still have some questions on whether this is for you or not, super simple, no worries. Just book a free call with me. I call this discovery calls. So just book a free discovery call with me. We will get to know one another. We will discuss. You can share your ideas with me. I will share what I think about, your situation, your ideas, and then we can both decide, you and I, if we are a good fit for one another. You can decide if I'm the right coach for you, and I can decide if you're the right client for me, because it has to be both ways. There needs to be a match. So I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I hope you found this episode insightful. I hope it inspires you to pursue your dreams. I hope it inspires you to realize that there's two lives, and the second one begins when you realize that we only have one. I will see you on the next episode, and in the meantime, in Blisstopia we trust.